Hi there, I'm Forrest, the executive chef at Campground in Arcata. Today I'm going to show you how to grill an oyster, similar to the way we do it here at the restaurant with a little twist. I'm a local, Kinleyville native, grew up, went to culinary school in Portland, Oregon, moved around, came back. Now I'm back in my roots, showing off my skills. So today here we're gonna grill up some Pacific oysters. They're right from the bay, Humboldt Bay company. Kathy is our lady, call her every week. She drops them off and we grill them to your satisfaction. So today we're going to do just a plain grilled oyster with a little harissa butter. Harissa butter is our staple here at Campground. We use it on our oysters and our steaks. Everybody seems to love it. So that was my choice today to show you how to grill it up. It's also going to be served with a little bit of preserved Meyer lemon relish. Basically a salt cured lemon packed with some herbs and garlic and sit in the fridge for about a week or so. And then you kind of scrape it off and use just the rind. I'll show you an example of that here in a minute. Some other herbs we're going to use today. We've got some fresh mint, we've got some fresh tarragon, and some fresh Italian flat leaf parsley. We have some pickled shallots and some garlic is also in this this relish. So it's an uncooked relish, but it is packed with flavor and topped off with oil and seasoned well. It'll be a nice light acidic finish to the end of the oyster. Today we're going to be grilling over an open fire. Got it nice and hot and rolling already. So kind of the basics of oyster grilling is you want a nice hot grill. Nice big juicy oysters. These were harvested last week right here in Humboldt Bay. These are Pacific oysters. They will continue growing until they turn into dinosaurs. These things get massive, but they harvest them right about that perfect size. They are delicious for grilling. A lot of the raw oysters come in a little smaller. We don't have those here, but at our sister restaurant Salt, we serve them there. Kumamoto's, that sort of direction with the raws. You have such a different delicate flavor with raw oysters. You get to taste the briny, different flavors of where they come from. With grilled oysters, they still shine in that department, but I think grilled oysters are better for showing off other ingredients myself. So today we're gonna just grill up a few. I have them here on a little salt bed just so they don't teeter around, lose all those good juices. One way to do it is just throw it on and wait for it to pop off. Another way to do it is to take a nice sharp shucking knife and a towel. Some people like to use a glove so they don't stab themselves, but looking at the oyster, you have a hinge. That's where your top shell and your bottom shell are connected, and they're also connected by an abductor muscle. Abductor muscle is going to be separated after we get this hinge popped open. First thing you want to do is have a nice sharp tipped oyster knife. I prefer the curved tips myself. Find these at Ace Hardware in Arcata or online if there's not any available. But 15 bucks or so, get yourself a nice oyster knife. It'll help a lot. First thing you want to do, grabbing a dry folded towel is my go-to. Holding the top of the oyster in balance from rocking around. Take your oyster knife and you're going to insert it right into that hinge. First thing, you're not trying to stab the thing, you're not trying to put all your weight into it. You're just trying to wiggle your way into getting it separated so that it pops up nicely and you don't damage the oyster inside. So first thing, you know, just work your way, find that little spot. Pop it up. There it is. Crack it open and wiggle it up using leverage back and forth. And let's keep that knife nice and cleaned up so you don't get any of that outside shell into the middle. Next, you're going to wiggle your way down until you meet the abductor muscle. Then you're just going to separate that from the top shell. I like to clean it up, get all those shells out of there, get them out of the way so you're not eating shells. And then take your oyster knife, scoop that abductor muscle right underneath, dragging your knife all the way across so it's nice and smooth with the shell. And there you go. You have a beautiful, plump oyster ready to throw on the grill. So I'm going to throw this one on the grill and get it started. I'm also going to throw a little bit of this, call it a harissa butter. Harissa is a chili paste, North African chili paste. It's roasted peppers, garlic, a little honey, olive oil. Rehydrated chilies work great for it, or just roasted chilies. So you can find them at the farmer's market in the summertime. They work great. And so what I do with that is I just take softened butter and I whisk that up really nice and smooth, and then I add the chili paste to that, and you end up with this nice deep red kind of beautiful coin. You have to wrap it up and roll it to get this coin, but put it in a bowl, it's the same thing. This is more for presentation for our steaks here in house at the campground. I'm just going to put a nice little pat of it up right on the grill, get that oyster nice and cooked up real nice and good with that butter on it. I'm going to do that a couple more times, a little quicker, so you guys can see a few more times what it's like. Some of these oysters have a little bit more juice than others. It just depends on, how they're stored. If you are storing them properly in your fridge, you should have enough juice to really kind of hydrate your oysters and get as much of that brininess that you want to get out of an oyster. If you store them upside down, all that good juice will leak out and end up with a dry oyster. You can always, if that does happen, you can always put a little bit more butter on there to kind of spruce it up a bit, but that briny flavor is what you really want. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple of these on the grill. Get some, this is that harissa butter I was talking about. Harissa is a really nice accompaniment with multiple things: chicken, fish, oysters, steak. It's amazing. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to throw them right on the grill, right in the hottest spot I can find. And here at the restaurant, people order these by the dozen, so we're shucking a lot. It gets pretty chaotic in the kitchen, and make sure that everybody knows how to shuck an oyster, including the bartenders and the servers and the expos and everybody, bussers, dishwashers. So the whole crew comes together and shucks oysters when we need them. We usually get around 20 dozen oysters a week. That's usually gone on Friday before we can even get into the weekend. People love oysters. They are really nice year-round, but this is the best time of year to eat them. You can get them from all over the western seaboard, from Alaska down to Mexico. They're just amazing. One of my favorites of all time. Great with beer, great with cider, great with wine. So next I'm gonna pull off one of these other oysters I've got going, just to show you kind of what you should be looking for when you're grilling an oyster. I'll rotate this around, drop it in the ice, or the rocks. So you're looking for this nice kind of golden ring around the shell. You don't want to burn your oyster, but you want to have a nice clean grill mark on there. And you don't want to lose that liquid. So you see how all that butter is nice and melted in there? That's what you're looking for. That beautiful color. I'm going to top this with a little Meyer lemon relish. Just a touch, just for a little zing, and a pickled shallot. And in this relish we have tarragon, we have mint, and Italian parsley. That's all finely chopped with Meyer lemons that have been cured. Takes about 12 days to cure one of these lemons. And all you're doing is you're packing it with salt and letting the salt pull that moisture out. This is what we do. We cut it all the way down to the core, and then we pack salt in there as tight as possible. We bunch them back up, and then we pack them into this mason jar. We throw some rosemary, some garlic in there as well, just to kind of flavor it a little bit. And then for this, all you're going to do is kind of drag that pulp right off. That's just going to be a salt bomb. You don't want that. You want this rind. The rind is packed full of flavor and gives a really nice citrus burst. So for this, I'm going to take my lemon peel, and I'm just going to finely julienne it, is what they call this cut. Nice thin strips. I'm going to go back and cut it the opposite direction. So I end up with these nice little tiny bits. These work great for salad vinaigrettes. They work great for sauces, marinades. Packs a punch. Just a little bit goes a long way. Here at the restaurant, we use it for our charred cauliflower side with our benya cauda, which is an anchovy garlic sauce with olive oil and butter. And then it's topped with this as well. We like to use it for our fish specials and other applications like that. So yeah, that's, breakdown of the Meyer lemon. You want to have a nice fine piece at the end so that you end up with a nice small, texture. It's small and it doesn't overpower your oyster. You want the oyster to shine, but you want to bring other flavors into it to make it pop. These other oysters are also done, so I'm going to pull these off. I like to use the same tray, just for sake of presentation wise. This is how we present them at the restaurant, on a tray with rock salt. Nice sizzle. That butter is nice and melted, and your oysters are cooked perfectly. Get that one too. Pickled shallots are really easy as well to do at home. Just a shallot, whole shallot. You just want to peel these. Take your knife, cut off your ends. Nice and clean edge there. Clean up these extra sides. The way I like to break it down from here is kind of clean up that edge, not cutting all the way through the core, just a touch. Straighten that side up. And for this, if you have a sharp knife, you can cut it really thinly, or you can take a mandolin, if you have one, and cut that really evenly and thin. But for this, you're just gonna take your knife and cut it as thin as you want it. You can go razor thin, or you can go a little thicker, depending on your crunch that you would want. And then from there, you're just gonna build a basic pickle brine. We use here at the restaurant, we use champagne vinegar, a little bit of sugar or honey, a little bit of bay leaves, peppercorns, aromatics that enhance the flavor. You boil that down, the vinegar and sugar, you boil that down, and you pour that liquid over your shallots or any other flavor. You can pickle garlic, you can pickle fennel, you can pickle whatever you want to pickle. Coming from Portland, I like to pickle everything. But yeah, that's the gist of how we're gonna serve it up. It's really easy. Everything's very, very rustic and kind of just simple. That's my style here. I plan on developing new menus every couple of months here at the restaurant, running lots of specials. Using the farmer's market to my advantage, being half a block away. Every Saturday I go down there and pick out produce for different things. But anyways, this is my oyster. I hope you guys enjoy Oyster Fest, and through all this pandemic, glad that everybody still pulled together and got this together, because Humboldt strong. All right. Thank you.